16. Just 16 years old when Cédric Villani earned his high school diploma.
16. Wow.
Hmm.
It really makes you pause, doesn't it?
Right. Take a second and think back to when you were that age. What was the biggest puzzle you were trying to figure out?
Probably not something quite on that academic level for most of us, I'd imagine.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into the journey of this, well, remarkable mathematician, Cédric Villani.
And we're using a biographical account as our guide here.
It's not just about the equations, though. It's about the person behind them, the challenges, the breakthroughs.
Yeah, what's really compelling is that it wasn't some smooth ride to the top. His story is full of intense pressure, self-doubt, but also this incredible curiosity.
So our mission today is to unpack that. We want to pull out the key lessons from his experiences.
Lessons about tackling difficult things, embracing the unknown, and how inner struggles can connect to extraordinary achievements.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. His early environment sounds pretty formative.
Absolutely. Picture this French household. It's filled with classical music, but also constant intellectual chat.
The source calls it a grand tapestry. Literature, maths, art, all woven together. His family was deep into academia and the arts.
Which sounds amazing, of course.
Yeah.
Very nurturing.
But it must have also come with a certain weight, right? That kind of unspoken expectation.
Definitely. When you're surrounded by accomplishment, there's that pressure of, what are you going to do? What's next?
It makes you think about pressure in general, family expectations, or even the ones we put on ourselves.
And it didn't stop even when he achieved something huge, like getting into the École Normale Supérieure. He ranked 4th.
Which is incredible, prestigious school.
Totally. But even there, surrounded by brilliant minds, he apparently had doubts. Will my ideas matter? Can I actually contribute something new?
That feeling of, am I good enough? Even after you've made it somewhere significant. Have you ever felt that? That sort of imposter feeling?
Oh, for sure. I think it's more common than people realize, especially in high-achieving environments.
Yeah.
External success doesn't always silence that inner voice,
It's a powerful point. And then he entered what the source calls the crucible of the Grande École.
Crucible. That's a strong word. It really paints a picture.
An intellectual gauntlet, it says, where only the brightest, the most resilient kind of survive.
Imagine the intensity. Constant testing, evaluation, pressure to be at the absolute peak day after day.
It highlights how demanding that French system is, or was, designed to push people right to their limits.
Yeah, it selects for brilliance, but also for incredible mental toughness. You need both to thrive there.
And it's in that setting that he takes on his doctoral work, the Boltzmann equation.
Ah, the Boltzmann equation. The source doesn't hold back describing it.
No, a mathematical monster, a labyrinth, a storm of complexity.
Basically, something that had stumped mathematicians for generations. Think about predicting the behavior of, billions of tiny particles in a gas. It's chaos.
And he spent years on it. The image is classic, right? Sleepless nights, chalk dust everywhere.
The sheer focus required. And the temptation to just give up must have been immense.
Have you ever faced a task that just felt impossible, where quitting seemed like the only rational option?
I think everyone has on some level, though maybe not quite a Boltzmann equation level, but that feeling is relatable.
What stands out, though, is his refusal to quit, his tenacity.
Yes, the source really emphasizes that. He drew inspiration from mentors, like Pierre-Louis Lyons, which is normal.
Sure, mentorship is key.
But ultimately, the struggle and the breakthrough felt deeply personal. It came from him.
And the breakthrough itself involved a pretty bold move.
Right. Applying tools from differential geometry, which is about shapes in curved spaces, to a physics problem like the Boltzmann equation.
The source says some saw as reckless.
Well, it was unconventional, certainly. But isn't that where real innovation often comes from? Stepping outside the usual boundaries?
Taking that risk of maybe looking a bit foolish if it doesn't pan out.
Exactly. And in his case, it did pan out. Big time.
His work on nonlinear Landau damping, convergence to equilibrium for the Boltzmann equation, it solved problems that were decades old.
It didn't just solve them. It changed the way people thought about those areas of maths and physics.
Which led to the Fields Medal in 2010. Huge recognition.
The highest honor in mathematics.
Yeah.
And it cemented his place. It's also interesting how the public image emerged around then.
Ah, yes. The look, the cravat, the spider brooch.
The eccentric mathematician persona, which is, quite a contrast to the intense, years-long internal struggle we've been talking about.
A good reminder not to judge a book by its cover, or a mathematician by his cravat, perhaps.
Definitely. But his story didn't stop there with the medal. He could have just stayed in his academic lane.
But he didn't. He became director of the Henri Poincaré Institute, focused on collaboration.
Yeah, fostering that exchange of ideas. He really worked to make the Institute a hub, bringing people together across different fields.
Trying to break down those silos between disciplines.
Exactly. And he also started thinking more about public engagement.
Which led him even further outside the traditional path. He became a communicator.
Books, documentaries, public talks. He seemed to develop this real conviction.
That mathematics wasn't just for mathematicians.
Precisely. That its beauty and power belong to everyone, or should be accessible to everyone.
What drives someone to do that? To step out, maybe risk criticism from peers for that kind of goal?
It seems like a deep belief in the value of what he does, and a desire to share it, to connect.
And then came perhaps the most surprising turn.
Politics?
Yeah, joining the French National Assembly, running for mayor of Paris.
Quite a leap from theoretical physics.
He championed causes like AI, education, scientific integrity, things he clearly cared about.
But politics, as the source says, is a different kind of storm.
Definitely not the same as peer review. He faced fierce opposition.
And his political path wasn't straightforward either. His association with Macron's party, La République En Marche.
That brought both praise and criticism, didn't it?
It did. And then his decision to run for mayor of Paris independently, against his party's chosen candidate.
Which led to his expulsion from the party.
Right. It raises that question the source poses. How often do we face moments where sticking to our principles means we end up standing alone?
It really highlights the potential costs of conviction, especially in such a public arena.
He remained committed to his independent stance, emphasizing dialogue. It shows a certain consistency, perhaps, even across different fields.
So, looking back at the overall impact, the ripple effect, it's pretty wide-ranging.
Absolutely. There's the core scientific contribution, advancing understanding in statistical physics, optimal transport, very significant fields.
Then there's the nurturing aspect, fostering talent at the Henri Poincaré Institute.
And the inspiration piece reaching young people, the public, through his communication efforts.
The source calls him both a dreamer and a doer, bridging theory and action, academia and society.
It's a rare combination. Someone deeply theoretical, but also intensely engaged with the world.
It really challenges you, doesn't it? To think about the boundaries we might accept without questioning. What could lie beyond our own comfort zones?
That ability to operate in multiple spheres, it amplifies impact, definitely. His influence is much broader because of it.
So when you boil it down, Villani's story, as told here, really feels like a testament to, well, resilience for one.
And curiosity.
Yeah.
That fundamental drive to understand.
And integrity, too, sticking to his path even when it got difficult or controversial.
It reinforces that idea that greatness, or maybe just significant achievement, often comes out of the struggle. It's forged in that difficulty.
The source asks that great rhetorical question. Isn't every breakthrough in maths or just in life basically a leap of faith?
That moment you choose to believe the impossible might just be possible.
It connects directly back to the listener, doesn't it? It invites you to see your own challenges differently.
As opportunities for growth, maybe, not just obstacles.
A chance to dare to be different, perhaps, or to speak out for what you believe in or share something you're passionate about.
His story is kind of an invitation to reframe things, to see difficulties not just as barriers, but as potential turning points.
Absolutely. So, wrapping up this deep dive on Cédric Villani, the big takeaway seems to be that major breakthroughs often follow these periods of really intense struggle.
And they require that courage to step into the unknown, to try something unconventional.
So the final thought for you, listening. What is the equation you are wrestling with right now? It doesn't have to be mathematical, of course.
What's that dream, that challenge that feels maybe a bit impossible?
Villani's journey is a reminder, perhaps, that just engaging with that impossibility is where the real discovery starts.
The universe, as the source puts it, is full of unsolved problems, waiting for the right question.
What if that next important question is yours?